Before I begin this story, I want to warn everyone to stay away from dark web. Last month, I had a small gathering at my place. I invited a couple of my office colleagues and we all drank and watched a football match. It was a men's night out, hence everyone got really drunk and lost track of time. There were 3 of us, me and my 2 colleagues, Max and Andy. We work in the IT department of a multinational company. The night was going well, but suddenly, Max brought up the topic of dark web. He said in a serious tone, "Very few people have the actual guts to surf the dark web. If you lost your way there, you have no idea what horrible things will come up." In my college days, I also accessed dark web once or twice, but nothing horrible took place. I said in a mocking tone, "Well, I think people spread a lot of rumors about the dark web. It's not that dangerous at all." Andy said, I never want to step in that arena. One of my college seniors told me that a guy ordered drugs from the dark web once, but instead, someone sent him the dust of human bones, which he snorted. I said in a surprised voice, "What? What happened to him?" Andy replied while taking a sip from his beer bottle, "That guy barely got out alive. My senior told me he bled terribly from his nose." I laughed and said, "I think your senior lied, dude. I can show you dark web is not that scary at all." I got up and turned on my laptop. Max and Andy sat beside me on the couch and we started to surf the dark web using the Tor browser. I was drunk and got adamant. I still regret going to the dark web just to prove a stupid point that night. I was going through the hidden wiki of the dark web. There were a bunch of links to various sites. We found a site that helps you to hire a hitman, and then a site where you can upload torture videos and earn money from the viewership. The more I searched, the weirder everything started to become. Max said, "Dude, can't believe some people can be this creepy in real life." I was about to click a new page when Andy pulled my attention to a link. The link read, http://truefootages.onion. I said, "Let's check out this link." Max grabbed my hand and said, "I don't think we should click on random links, Matthew. Let's just get out of this and watch the game. Seems like you are not one of those people who have the guts to surf the dark web, huh?" I later realized how I insulted him, but I know I should have listened to Max that night. Without saying anything more, I clicked on the link. The screen started to load. Andy and Max kept staring at the screen with big wide eyes. I thought it would be some kiddish jump scare or something similar to that, but as the page finished loading, a zip file started to download on my laptop. Andy said, "Hey, it can be some virus, you know. It can crash your machine." I replied saying, "I have a strongly built antivirus and the system would have blocked the download if it was a virus in the first place." Anyways, after the file downloaded, I extracted it in my laptop and it came across with 3 MP4 files in it. I finished my beer in one sip and said, "Are you ready to watch some dark web footages?" and smirked. Max and Andy were curious too, so they nodded. As I played the first footage, a small wooden house appeared on the screen. The house was located in the countryside. The person who took the footage started to walk towards the house. As he opened the door, we saw old furniture and damp clothes lying here and there. It was evident from the condition of the house that no one lives there. We could hear the heavy breathing of the person who had the camera in his hand, but it was hard to guess whether it's a man or a woman. The person stopped near the stairs, standing in the living room. I was obviously getting bored, but suddenly, Andy said in a whispering tone, "Did you hear that sound?" I asked, "What sound?" He said, "Listen carefully. I think someone's crying." I immediately increased the volume and realized Andy is right. There was actually the sound of a man sobbing. The man was crying like he's in terrible pain. The camera started to go upstairs. Now, our heartbeats got faster. As the person with the camera reached upstairs, the video ended. Without any hesitation, I played the second video. The second video started showing a corridor lying ahead of the camera. This time, the cry could be heard more clearly. The camera kept moving towards the corridor, and it came near the door. Max said, "I think there's someone inside the room." Andy shushed him, saying, "Watch it quietly." Now, the person behind the camera went to open the doorknob, and we saw a pale-looking skinny hand with lots of rings on its fingers. The red nail polish on those fingers made the hand look even creepier. We realized it's a woman, probably in her late 40s, filming this video. As she twisted the doorknob and opened the door, a vicious sight took place. There was an old man tied up to a chair placed in the middle of the room. It was this man's cry we heard on the first footage. Seeing the woman with the camera, the man started to cry even louder. The fearful look on his face made it all look so real. The man said in a sobbing and gasping voice, "Please, Julia, let me go. Why are you doing this to me? Please, don't hurt me. Let me go, Julia." We heard the woman laughing in a very disturbing way. It was evident from her laughter that she was enjoying this man's pain. She placed the camera on a wooden stand or something like that. Now the camera is still, and it is focusing on the man tied up to the wooden chair. Andy said in a panicked voice, "Is this all real?" This time, I got really confused. I wasn't expecting something like this at all. The man kept sobbing, and there was no sign of that woman for a few moments. Suddenly, the woman jumped in front of the camera from the left corner. It almost gave us all a heart attack. She started to laugh, looking at the camera like a maniac. Her eyes were big and she had a pale face. The way she stared at the camera, it gave us all goosebumps. Max even said, "I feel like she can see me. What the hell is this all?" The woman slowly moved her head and looked at the man. Then, she again looked back at the camera and gestured her finger in her lips. Andy said, "This woman is freaking insane. Is she telling us to keep quiet? What kind of bizarre video is this?" I was speechless with everything that was happening in front of my eyes. The woman picked up something from the ground. We couldn't see what it was, but as soon as she started to walk towards the man's behavior changed in a second. The man started to panic like a fish out of water. He said, "No, Julia, no, you can't do this to me. I am your husband. Julia, please, don't do this." The woman reached behind his back and lifted her hand. She was holding a chainsaw in her hand. Her evil smile made my heart drop to my stomach. She again looked at the camera and shushed like before. The man was crying and sobbing, and the video ended there. The three of us sat silently on the couch, looking at the laptop screen flashing the third video file on it. I was literally shivering. Max was breathing heavily. Andy said in a trembling voice, "Should we watch the last video? What do you think happens in that?" Max got up and said, "Damn you, Matthew, I told you to stop." I hit my face with my palm. My forehead was covered with sweat. Then I said, I don't know." Andy played the last video. What we saw next shook us for our entire lives. The man was no more on that chair. The wall behind him was painted in blood. There was blood splattered all over the room. Our eyes were stuck on the screen. Our hearts were beating like wild horses. When we saw that woman coming in front of the camera from the left side again, her head was down looking at the floor. Her hair covered her partial face. I could tell she was holding something in her hand. She then stopped and turned towards the camera. Her face was still looking down. She started to cry like a child. Her cry was making everything even more uncomfortable now. She cried, standing like that for a few more seconds, and then suddenly lifted her hand with the bloody head of her dead husband. Yes, she was holding the severed head of that man in the chair. She started to laugh like a maniac while showing off his head towards the camera. Her eyes were glowing. She was looking like the devil from hell. Max gasped, "Oh my God, did she really kill her husband with a chainsaw?" And immediately started to throw up on the floor. I was numb. I couldn't move, couldn't take my eyes away. The woman then got really close to the camera and gestured her bloody finger onto her lips and said in a whispering voice, "Shh, keep quiet." The video ended there. All of us remained awake the entire night. Andy got really sick. We admitted him to the hospital as he had a nervous breakdown after watching the video. We took the footage to the cops and told them everything. The cops are still investigating and looking for a woman named Julia who cut her husband's head off with a chainsaw and posted the entire incident on the dark web. If anyone comes across this woman, please let the cops know about it. I have no doubt that she is a mentally unstable woman roaming free with murderous intentions hidden inside.